you need me to move a little bit to frame up differently, I'm cool with that.
I think part of the charm is that it's a little makeshift. You know what I mean? It's not
Absolutely.
like a polished.
Absolutely.
You ready to jump into it?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Here we are at Through Lane Coffee Shop in Park Place. Park Place, it's actually Park Lane with Nathan. How are you?
Do great. How are you?
I'm really good.
All right.
You ready to jump into this?
Let's go.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
It depends on the quality
of the pineapple or pizza
and the season. All of it, right? So it's more like a summer thing. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
You know, so I'll go with it. But sometimes,
like if someone brings that up winter, you're like, "Fuck no! What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Kind of like seasonal beer, right? Seasonal pineapple.
Seasonal pineapple.
Yeah.
Okay, that you're the first person that's answered it like that, so I like it. I love it.
Cool.
All right. What do you do to pay the bills?
Right now, I'm currently freelancing, but I work for one company that does stagehand, live shows, concerts, productions, filming, TV, awards, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, everything.
So a
what
stagehand supervisor. So we set up and build all the concert stages, the lighting, the video walls.
So Taylor Swift just came into town. Did you help out on that?
A lot of my people worked on that.
Oh,
show.
wow.
Yeah, we were on a different one. We did the NoFX Punk tour.
Oh, cool. I'm a Swiftie, but I'm also NoFX back in the day. That is.
I would have done both.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever one they put me on first. So and then I've been in the industry and entertainment for a long time. Grew up here.
Yep.
Moved to Nashville. Moved to LA. I've been.
Were you moving for work, or were these just?
Like dreamer world first. First move was just to go to Nashville to do music and visited my friend out there. And
what type of music do you do?
So I'm more of like a pop artist. But I.
Were you trying to be in the Backstreet Boys?
I don't think I have I missed the window, as they say. And not quite the dance moves. But, mostly drumming. So moved to Nashville and started touring right away. Okay. And then also...
So were you drumming for someone else in the band? Or?
Yeah, so that tour was with the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
Okay, cool.
I was a show drummer for them.
That's cool. So how'd you get... That's crazy. Yeah. How'd you get into that? Was it just being around and auditioning? Or?
Yeah, kind of a fluke. I just was at Cracker Barrel with my friends, getting some food. I wasn't that hungry. Yeah. So I just wanted a side of cornbread. The waiter was kind of messing with me, just making fun of me for only wanting that.
Cornbread.
Yeah. So we kind of built up a rapport. And then by the end, he's like, yeah, I'm a drummer. I just moved to town too. And, this was before any sort of social media. Can I get your number? And we'll be friends. I'm like, why not? Yeah. And he called me a few days later and said, hey, my buddy just started playing bass with the Circus, but I can't do it, and I thought I'd give you the number of the guy. And I was like, okay. So called the music director, got music, went and auditioned. Next thing you know, got an RV and started touring with the Circus.
No way.
Right?
That's crazy. So touring all around America? Or just
U.S. and some Canada, too.
That is crazy. And so I have two thoughts on this.
Sure.
I love that you're willing to say yes to this, right? Mm-hmm. But also, I love the saying luck favors the prepared. Right. Now, if you're like, hey, I want to be a drummer, and then that guy's like, oh, yeah, you could be a drummer, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to go and do that tour if you hadn't done all the preparation to be a drummer.
Right, and I had an audio CD of me playing on my brother's jazz album in my car when the director called me and said, do you have anything I can listen to? So I played the CD in the car over the phone. This is me playing some jazz. He's like, okay, cool, come audition. So it all just kind of lines up.
Yeah.
But being prepared, having experience. I've already done theater shows here. And all
that. That's so crazy. So you do the tour. Mm-hmm. How long are you doing this tour for? Years, months?
So this one was about a year.
About a year, okay.
9 months, a month learning the show, 8 months on the road, 55 cities, 300 shows.
Wow. Yeah. And then what's the day-to-day like? Because when people think of Circus, and this might be naive of me, I'm thinking this is all funky and there's all sideshow people there and everyone's a little bit off kilter a little bit because they're in the circus. And so how's that
to a degree? What you really have is a lot of generational performers. So you have acrobats and specialty acts and other musicians in the band, so we're kind of on the same page. And Nothing too freakish, but definitely some contortionism and some animal acts. So some pretty special skills.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as a touring production, it's like most other productions.
Oh,
as
okay.
a musician, we had the option on our tour to have our own RV. So I had my own Class C motorhome, motorcycle and a trailer behind it, and I drove overland between every city.
Oh, wow.
So that added a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we would play 1 to 2 cities per week, and 10 to 13 shows a week. So we'd get to town,
so they're like popping up this whole like circus.
Some of them do the tent shows. Ours was just in buildings, so arenas and civic centers and things of that nature.
That's cool. Was there any skills that you learned on that tour that you still use today? Like, are you swallowing swords? Like, hey kids, here's a party trick.
I wish. Yeah, a little bit of balancing, but not much. Actually, as a drummer, catching tricks is what they call it. So when you're a circus drummer, when somebody does a flip or cool, you accent it with some sort of crash or fill, and it's never in the same place. So that's part of separating. When you're doing it during the middle of the show, you're playing, and all of a sudden there's the trick. So it's really just timing in general.
Yeah, you're playing on the flow sort of thing as well. Yeah. So you're probably trying to keep your rhythm of the show, right? And then you've got to be like, and I'm watching you guys.
Wherever it lands.
So
that's a good implement for anything. Improvising, timing, so just playing with a band, and if something's going on or they make a joke or whatever, it's there. Yeah. It just instantly can react.
That's crazy. So you leave there, what do you do after that?
So at that point, I was done.
How old are you when this is happening as well?
I auditioned at 21. I got the tour 22. So pretty young. Yeah. And then after the tour, I had an artist buddy that went out to California. So I was California dreaming and movies and all that. Yeah. So I followed him out there to California and started valeting at the Beverly Hills Hotel as a little side job, which ended up being one of the side jobs that I did the most for 15 years because it was so much fun while I was doing music and working in films.
Was there anyone, who was the most famous person that you valeted for?
There were quite a few. Yeah. Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Paul McCartney.
Oh, wow. Who was the nicest that you like, it sticks out to you?
Paul McCartney.
Yeah?
Just super genuine.
Oh,
really
wow.
Really low-key, really nice. And a lot of them really almost seemed like the more famous somebody was, most times the nicer they were.
Yeah.
And more relaxed.
Yeah.
It was like the lower-level celebrities.
They're trying to swing their big dick around kind of thing.
Had a little bit more of an attitude.
Yeah. All right.
Oftentimes.
Cool. So you go from that, and then you spend 10, 15 years down in LA, and you're doing music on the side as well.
Yep. So
are you trying to get stuff going in bands, or is this trying to be like more production stuff?
Right. So how it worked, I actually bounced. I got offered to do Miss Saigon Broadway tour, so I was moving back up to Seattle, where I'm from here, to put stuff in storage, hop on that tour, and on the way, the drummer that left that show went to another one. That show canceled. He came back to Saigon, so that fell through.
Oh, okay.
So I hung out here, did a little real estate remodeling with my brother, music, went back to Nashville. So then I was back in Nashville for another 4 to 6 years, forget, and did more drumming, but then started stumbling into more TV production.
Oh, okay.
I worked on my first low-key set in on a college project in LA.
Oh, okay.
The first time I worked on a set.
So what sort of stuff are you doing there? You doing the sound for this stuff, or you doing
just production work, just PA, just
what's that?
Helping out, production assistant.
Yep.
So whatever they need to do, hold a light, move a cord around, get out of the shot.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Don't have Christian
noise.
Bale yell
at you.
Exactly.
Don't yell. Don't get yelled at. And then that turned into a lot of TV production work, live to tape shows, live award shows in Nashville. So I ended up falling in love with production because I'm going, hey, I'm a part of the show. This is cool. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes, behind the camera.
Yeah.
On it, and found that passion because it's storytelling. So I'm like, well, this fits perfectly with what I love to do.
Yep.
And started making a career of doing that. CMT Awards and other shows, and then
like the Country Music Awards.
Country
wow!
Music, Viacom stuff, and Larry the Cable Guy show was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool!
Hanging out with Dan Whitney in the dressing room, and he's telling me about some gig he just did air guitar and was having a blast. Coolest guy, top level, nicest guy.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Far out.
Yeah. And then kind of felt like I was hitting the ceiling and wanted to get more into film. So I moved back to LA. And that's when I was there most recently for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And
how old are you? You must be like 67 at this point.
75, 41.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm 42,
lived a lot of life.
That is a lot of life to pack in.
20 years, right. So, went back to LA and did do some TV and film work. Worked on a couple films that won some awards. And
is there anything that we would know that you...
You'd know people that I've worked with, but the projects are smaller indie stuff, so it's harder to find. But,
is there anything you want to shout out here so people would find them, like, and look at them?
Oh, the movie that we worked on that was really fun was called Jimmy the Saint, and we won some awards on that. It was the second assistant direct and first assistant one day. So, great team of people, Christine Lakin and Brandon Bro and Brandon Morgan, great writer, director. Just friends that you just go, hey, you're working on something? Can I come show up? And you work, and next thing you know, it won some awards, so it's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah, so now you're getting into film and stuff like that.
And then I actually started songwriting more.
Oh,
which is funny because you think you're moving from Nashville to LA. I was doing the film, but also started writing more songs.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, are these personal projects, or you're like, hey, I'm going to try and write a pop song to try and get someone to play this?
It was more about trying to get stuff placed. I always write for myself too, so I have songs that I think of myself for as an artist. But I just kind of started writing with a few different people and intention to get things placed. So I wrote an animated movie style song that I've been sitting on. Because I've just been trying to get it placed in a film but never had it placed. Right project timing wise. I call it my 401k plan. I'm just sitting on it. And then I worked with a couple artists. A couple got one placed on a TV show, just background, kind of in a cafe in a scene like this. I'm like, hey, that's something. I'm on that. That was fun.
I'd be so stoted.
It was pretty neat.
I'd have a tattoo of that or something like that, trying to showboat it.
Young and the Restless scene episode.
The timestamp.
317 to 335. 3 lines. No. Right, so that was cool, and then I write pop country too. So I had 2 songs on hold with a country artist, and then as things happen, sometimes change management, never got the songs, but still kind of a cool level of saying, hey, somebody there was interested in it.
Well, just even the thought, like, of those little, like, to me, like we were talking about before, luck favors the prepared, right? And so you're making all these little pushes and nudges, and all it takes is that one nudge to tip something over, and then it's like, boom, you're like, oh, I've been creating, like, in 10 years, you're going to do this podcast again. Oh, I've been doing pop songs for country people for 10 years now. And
it's like, here's the catalog.
You
want another song? I've got 20 more. What style?
Exactly.
So, and it gets you down a little bit sometimes. It's hard when you get, especially as a creative person, you go, this is magic. I believe in this. This is it. And some people tell you that too.
So I feel the same thing with this podcast. Like, I've got maybe at the moment 64 followers on YouTube. I have a few on, like, just the follow the app, but like, some days you're just like, fuck, there's so much work that goes into this. Like, people don't say, like, the editing, the writing, the social media, the illustration, all that sort of stuff. And then you're like, great, 37 people seen that. But the way you and I probably look at it, it's like, not the now, it's the 6 months, a year, like a year and a half from now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's also what I found out more than an instant gratification of success. Oh, this placed or that got views. Was the people that you build in your team, the people you work with and build a reputation with. Because that one person I worked with, 10 years ago, goes, hey, you're in town? Hey, I got this gig. Hey, I thought of you. You came to mind. Right? So that's part of it too. Creating a network of people that go, hey, I know your skill set. We worked on this together. And I know you can show up and make it happen.
I feel like that would work. I think I'm way earlier in the process in this podcast situation. Where I feel like you've, like, set the groundwork and laid some concrete foundations that you are higher on a plateau than I am right now.
I think it's relative. Right?
Of course. I'm not upset with it, but I'm saying I feel you, and I see that sort of happening. That's awesome.
What inspired you to do this setup, this platform? Because I know you draw, I'm guessing.
So I draw a lot. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. I think I probably drew on my own birth certificate. Probably. Then over the years, I've just always been the person that asks questions. And so if we're on an airplane, I'm that person that's like, oh, hey, how are you? Where are you off to? And I always find a way, not to weasel my way in, but it's like, I find a way to like have a genuine conversation with someone.
Yep.
And I'm just always been doing that. And so then I was like, well...
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Right? Like with the waiter at the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
Cornbread, drumming, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've always been that way too, because I travel a lot. So, especially for work. And I genuinely like to...
That's
what
the
are
point.
You all about? What do you do? What's your story? What's the setup like?
Yeah.
Can I be a part of it? Let's
exactly.
go.
I play a little pickleball over here at Everest.
Sweet. I want to get in on that.
Oh, yeah, you should come down. But the big part about it's very social, but I sit down and I'm like, I'll ask someone, I'll forget their name, but I'll know that their son's going off to college and they're feeling a bit like of an empty nester and like they're doing X, Y, or Z to sort of like cover that, or just all these little things that I'm able to like get past the how's the weather going type thing.
Sure.
And that's the part.
No pineapple on pizza.
No pineapple on pizza. Yeah. Or they're all about it, and they'll eat it any season. So
hot or cold.
Hot or cold. So I've always like just like find that, and I find it so interesting because I think every person has a story, and I think about my story, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just a shithead of a nobody, and I came from a little small surf podunk town, and then I think of people that I meet, and I'm like, oh dang, like you are so far removed from what I would have grown up with, and you've done these amazing things, and that sort of just blows my mind when you like someone that you could be in front of a coffee store. Like I had a guy on here, one of the earlier episodes, and his dad was a refugee from Romania, and then now his dad's a doctor and does Doctors Without Borders type stuff where they have stuff all over the country, all over the world, helping out people, and I'm like, that's amazing, like just incredible. So that's sort of the reason why.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you, when you see that, you go, what are my dreams? Man, I'm kind of selfish, aren't I? I want to be a star. I want to have a huge hit. You know, but but I think we all have different skill sets. I can't draw.
Yeah.
I love it. I love art. I can't draw. So I look at you and I go, man, you're miles ahead of where I'll ever be. Yeah. Because that's not my skill set. That's not my talent.
I'm the same way of music. I look at music like, and I just go, oh my gosh, I wish I was one of those people that could just like sit down and just play, and also have the tenacity to break through those barriers of like, oh, let me sit there and play this wrong chord, for where I will sit there and draw and be like, I got this drawing wrong for 3 hours, but I'm still digging into it. Where guitar, I'd be like, no, not quite. Oh, God, okay, I'll put it down for now. You know what I mean?
Game over.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I'd try to draw, and then I go, there's no way I'm going to fix this, so I'm done. This won't get any better. That's the end of that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of music, let's move on to the next question.
Sure.
Is there a song that makes you want to dance, other than every song you've written?
At a certain tempo. Dancing, man. 70s, just funk, disco, and then all the newer pop songs that play off of that. Yep. But one song in particular, that's tough. I think you hear it and you just go, that one right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a tough one for me. It's all mood based for me.
Yeah.
So like I'm really into Groovan. Have you heard of them?
Not familiar.
So Groovan's like I don't know how to explain it. I'm not musically versed in what genre it is, but they're just this band that plays like really melodic, like rhythmic music, and like got a good bass line. The drummer's like just a real like consistent like but like for each song, right? He's like, not doing like drum solos or anything like that. Sure. He's just keeping a good rhythm, which my friends tell me like that's way harder than like drumming around. But anyway,
that's true.
So that's who I'm into right now, and cool. So like, but they're like, I'll put them on in like, I'll be like, oh, let's wake up in the morning and I'll put those guys on. You know what I mean? But then if I'm going to go play pickleball or go skateboarding, I'm putting on like intense rap, like where I'm like, okay, I need my brain to be like, I'm gonna fucking win everything.
That's kind of what's cool about music, is that you can set the dynamic for what your mood is.
Oh yeah, you know? I agree.
And it's funny, I'm a pretty optimistic, hopeful guy, easygoing, you know. But I also I love to write really dark stuff, and I also like to write like moment songs, like power ballad, duets, love songs, like stupid, sappy.
How's your voice
songs.
like for singing?
I'm a tenor. I don't have a ton of power or a ton of range, but pretty like, you know, in the middle, clean pop vocal.
Yeah.
So So.
I can't sing to save my life. And I was just talking to my wife on the way here. I was like, you know, when you wake up from a coma and you like, some people have a skill set. I was like, I think mine I'd want to be singing.
Yeah.
Like knock me out for a couple of days and I wake up with a good singing voice.
Like a powerhouse.
Yeah,
vocal.
exactly.
Yeah.
Give me a little Whitney Houston
Karaoke
voice.
And just
God.
mind-blowing everybody.
I would be the biggest dick. I'd be singing here right now.
Right.
Give me a mic, one leg up.
Yeah, clear the place out.
Yeah. I get kicked out.
Yeah, and so you're good. We don't need your business.
Yeah, we don't need it here. All right. Outside of drumming and producing, what do you do for fun?
I love driving. I love to just get out and not have a location and just go.
Oh, wow.
And just get out into nature. And
is there a certain car? Do you have like a car that you like to drive?
I had motorcycles for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I don't right now, but I have a vintage van.
Oh, I like a
boogie van, 78 Dodge van.
Oh, okay.
It's got the whole paneling and couch and swivel chair and carpet.
Sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
My friends and I, my friend had just a normal like family van, like one of those little boxy ones. And he would put like different chairs and stuff in the back there, and he'd have like swivel chairs. But this is before you're meant to wear seatbelts and stuff like that, and we were like idiots, and we'd be like, oh, let's just sit in the back, and he would just drive around, and we'd be like falling around in it. It was the best time.
We grew up in a family van, and I probably shouldn't say this for my parents. There's no negligent. It was all, they were doing what they were required to do law-wise. No, we didn't have seatbelts, so we were in the back, and there's these dangling metal lights. We'd go off a bump, smack our head on them. We're like, I guess I was just living.
Maybe you did get knocked unconscious, and then you were able to drum after it.
Yeah. Now we made the connection.
Yeah.
I see it now. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
So with the driving, is it just to clear your brain? Is it just to like get out and like?
It's part of it's just I like the experience of being out on the road and going somewhere. Part of my lifestyle, really.
Well, so much touring. What do you think it was, the touring and everything like that?
I've kind of always been a wanderer. I like to see new things, and I get bored easily. And also just nature around here in the summertime is great.
Oh,
mountains, lakes. I go up to the lake a lot. And, and then also I'm in my own space. I can listen to what music I want to listen to or not. Yeah. And I don't have any outside influence or somebody else sitting next to me wanting something different or wanting to talk or a different mood. Or there's no energy other than where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if I just need to clear my head most of the time, it's just to hit reset.
Yeah.
It's like, and if I want to listen to one of my songs, I don't feel weird about it.
I
want to listen to.
You're just driving with someone and be like, hey, I've got this good artist to listen to.
Check this out. Bet you never heard anything this cool. Bet that guy's super famous.
This guy's the next big star, guys. Let's get it.
Download it right now.
Well, actually, on that note, while we're right here, can people go listen to your songs somewhere? Like, do you have a SoundCloud or something?
I'm basically, as I'm starting a production company, I'm redoing all of that.
Okay.
So I've got one single that I want to release for myself as an artist, and I'm retooling it, as we're talking about. I'm trying to retrack some stuff and get it cleaned up a little bit.
Yep.
So publicly, I just have a couple cover videos on it.
Okay.
So a couple performances I did, a couple cover songs.
Well, I'll say this for the crew here. This is going to come out in a couple of weeks, and maybe if you have it up then, or I will.
Have a pressure to get something.
Well, you don't have to. Like,
no, it's good. It's a challenge. I like it.
But even after that, then I'll do a repost or upload, or I'll put a link back in that and be like, hey, this is his updated like site and everything, and then that way they can go and listen to that.
I'll have it. So, I'll have stuff up by then.
Yeah. That'll be awesome.
When it comes out, when it's ready and all those things.
Yeah.
We can kind of circle back to it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Cool.
Okay. What is your favorite animal?
I really like dogs in general.
Yeah.
If they're nice.
I
like a happy dog.
Like
no
a Chihuahua?
Just there for you.
Oh, yeah. That's my dog right now.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
I have an English Staffy, or a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So people think it's like a puppy pit bull, but it's like just this little block with like a big smiley head.
Nice.
And it's super loyal dog. Like, it follows me around everywhere. Every time, like, I'll go home now and I'll have to walk out the backyard, pat it, so then it gets too excited and pees, but it usually just pees for me, which so I get really excited. I'm like, hey, like,
special.
Like, we have a little bond, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
What dog would you choose?
It's hard
Do you have a dog?
I don't. Traveling too much and all that. And inconsistent schedule. I don't feel like that'd be very fair to a dog that needs routine.
Yeah.
I almost got a Yorkshire Terrier when I was out on the road. I like little scrappy looking dogs.
Yeah.
And I kind of like a lot of different breeds for different reasons. If
I
had more land, I might get something more like a lab or, but it's
the classic American dog. You need like a Field of Dreams baseball dream.
Golden Retriever.
Yeah.
Make sure you got the old vintage truck too.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Kevin Costner moment.
Exactly. Yeah, so I used to have like little Bichon Maltese, a little white fluffy dog before this one, and even I love my dog now. The dog before was amazing. Like she would just be, I could be right here and I'd be like, sit, and she'd just be like, okay, sit, and I'd be like, let's go on an 8-mile hike, and she's like, okay, let's go.
We're doing that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was just just the best in every situation. Yeah.
So whatever your needs are. Like,
yeah. And she was just and she'd be like cuddling and stuff. Mind you, my dog does all that now. She's just a bit like excitable. Where she'd be like, oh man, everyone's here to see me, right?
Yeah.
Like so. Like she plays her own music, right? She's that type of dog. Like, listen to me, look at me.
Yeah, look at me, it's my time.
Exactly.
Look at me shine.
Which story of yours do you wish everyone knew automatically?
It's interesting. It's like a part of your life journey story, or more of like a one specific event? That's got a lot of layers to it.
It does, right? So the way I think of this, like it could be a personality trait if you want, or something that highlights your trait. So for me, I was in a car accident maybe 20-something years ago.
Wow.
And my mate fell asleep driving. I shattered the left side of my face, cut this finger off, broke this arm, broke my hip, little fracture on the hip, and like messed up my ankle really bad, right? But now I look at that as a sort of a fun story to tell. I've had like 2 reconstruction surgeries in the face. I always say that I used to look like Brad Pitt until that happened.
Makes sense. I see.
Yeah, you see it? But it's one of those stories where it's like, I have these big scars across my head, and I used to every so often be like, I want, not to show it off, but I want to be reminded that that's happening. But one way you remind yourself is by having that conversation with other people. So I'd shave my head, and then people ask about it and be like, oh yeah, I almost died in a car accident. I've had reconstruction surgery.
I see what you're saying. So it's something where it's an awareness of something that you've experienced.
That's just for me. You might be like, I just want people to know that I'm a fucking awesome drummer.
One of the fun ones. Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty fun.
Like, do you just like when people come around, you're like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm just tapping away.
No, not so much. Maybe younger. Look at what I can do. But when you get older, you're like, don't ask me to play for you.
Yeah. I'm not your monkey.
Me. Yeah, exactly. I'm not your monkey. That's funny. I used to say that a lot. I'm like, I'm not here to entertain you. I just want to relax.
Yeah.
One story that I told to a new friend group recently that they were kind of surprised and impressed by is a good one. I was in Italy with my brother, and we're doing wine tours and having fun. I love Italy.
Yeah.
And we were staying on this bungalow on a beach in Gallipoli, and we're about 5 miles from the town. One night we're out swimming, and I was like, all right, we're parallel to next beach down. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just swim in. I was out a couple 100 yards. 100 yards maybe from the shore. And so everybody was going back in for the night. It's probably like 9 or 10 at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to keep
Is
swimming.
it dark at this
it's
time?
Dark. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I start swimming, and then I get to where our bungalow is, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep going. I'm looking at the lighthouse in town. I'm like, no, I'm going to swim towards that. And so I just started swimming, and I'm out there by myself in the middle of the ocean. And I made it to the lighthouse. It was probably like a few miles, 3 to 5 miles.
What?
Yeah. And
are you a strong swimmer anyway?
Pretty solid.
Oh, okay.
But not like competitive.
Yeah.
Just been around water my whole life.
Yeah.
So I'm just treading water, just cruising along. And as I'm swimming, the shoreline, it kind of goes in a cove. So I'm getting further and further. I had a couple of moments where I'm like, is this where I kind of like call it and go in?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to that lighthouse. So I just kept swimming, and I get to where, the break rocks are super sharp, and I climb up onto one of them. I'm pretty exhausted by that point. Then there's a big gap, And then the next one's kind of at an angle. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I jump up to the next one, kind of grab it, and start sliding down that rock. If I fell in between, it would have been game over. You know, there's no way I would have been able to get out of that.
Yeah.
And so able to get enough of a grip, climbed up. I just walking from the lighthouse
all the way
the brick
back
wall into town, and it's late. It's Italy, but there's people out, a cafe.
Yeah.
I scraped up my elbow. I'm just like dripping blood. And walking through the town, just in my swimsuit, just kind of casual, just kind of walking right through the town past everybody. They're like, "Who is this guy?
Who is this guy in swimmers bleeding profusely?"
Yeah, just cool. All right, just walk through the town, and then when I get to the edge of town, and start getting into the fields, you know. And it's still a ways to go. And I'm like, this is a little sketchy. I'm going to try to hitch a ride. So I stick my thumb. First car pulls over, a couple of young guys in Italian. I spoke a little bit of Italian by then. They spoke a little bit of English.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to La Vecchia Torre. You know, they're like, oh, yeah, cool, get in. And
they're like, just don't bleed on the...
right. And hopefully it's a rental. And so they're like, yeah, what did you do? Oh, I just swam there. They're like, what? Like, you swam? They didn't believe me. They thought I didn't understand the language. I'm like, no, I just swam from there to there by myself. They're like, dude, that's shark-infested waters.
I was just about to say.
I'm like, good thing I didn't know that. Like, glad you're telling me that now that I'm out of the water.
Can you imagine if you knew, like, found out that, like, at the time, your, like, heart rate beats up and then the sharks are like, oh, hello.
Then they, like, it's like a signal beacon sending out to them.
But you're so casual, like, whatever, this is beautiful Italy. They're like,
ocean. Look at me right now in the stars. Just
lucky you didn't bump your elbow pre-going.
Right, exactly, or not know about it. Yeah, so that was a fun one. My brother was super mad at me. He's like, I had to just force myself to go to sleep. I didn't think you were going to make it. And then I told him the story the next day, and they're like, Michael Phelps. So for the rest of the trip, everybody called me that for the rest of the trip. It was pretty
That's funny.
So,
that's a good one.
It's something that I was like, hey, that's cool that I was capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I'll never do it again.
Yeah, if I knew, it's one of those things where if you knew the information beforehand, you would never have done it, but
pretty
you're glad
like
you did
life,
it. Yeah.
Right? Just like, hey, you want to be a drummer? Oh, you want to be a songwriter? Okay.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Career. Hey, you just do it. You
just go for it. Yeah, I loved it. That's a great one.
Wow.
Okay. Hang on. My thing keeps closing. All right. If you're going to take me to your favorite food place, where would we go?
Wow, another loaded question. I'll just rattle off a few.
I'm all for it.
There's a restaurant in LA called Blastron. Amazing. Okay. Shout out to Landon.
What sort of food?
It's kind of a mix of cuisine. They specialize in a few things, and then it's kind of fusion.
Okay, so cool.
Really super great.
Excellent.
Wow. For Mexican food, I would say... I'm blanking on the name of the restaurant. I was going to be so prepared and tell you everything and have the answer right away. Little place in LA as well, off Sunset Boulevard, right across from the Guitar Center.
Okay.
Great little spot. El Corazon, I think. Yeah. Anyway, it has flaming margaritas, which is pretty fun.
Oh, wow.
Mariachi band, really, really good food.
Oh, wow.
A lot of history to it.
You know, when I was younger, I worked at a restaurant in Australia. And I was like, oh, wow, this is real, like, Mexican. Then I moved here, and I had Mexican up here, and I was like, oh, this is even better. Like, you know what I mean? And then when I went to LA or, like, down to California for the first time, and I was like, this is what, like, and everyone's like, if you're going to have Mexican in America, it's got to be, like, further closer to Mexico.
Get close.
Yeah, and then I went to Mexico for my anniversary. I mean, not my anniversary, my honeymoon.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy down here. Like, so where I started at thinking what Mexican food was.
This is amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Level up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I love Italian food too.
Yep.
One restaurant. That's again, it's kind of seasonal situation. What city you're in, what movie
you're
in, but there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, a lot of good ones. Is there anywhere around Seattle where you go? You're like, this is the place to go. Like you've got a hot. You're meeting with the manager of a song pop star, and you're like, I'm going to take them to schmooze them here, or to like blow their mind at this restaurant.
That's a good one. Man, static, white noise.
Don't worry, I can edit this stuff out.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been so out of that mind frame, just hustling and working, that I haven't really thought of a place like that for me. But there's a couple that I like. I like Grazzi's in Basel. That's a great Italian. So that's part of the restaurant that I went to do the Italy tour with.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah, great restaurant, great people.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, as far as doing I would probably have to venture out. I'm usually working in Seattle
and
not trying out the right restaurants
for
that.
Yeah. There was a place in Seattle that was called Hole in the Wall. There's this this pulled pork like barbecue place.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, I used to work down there.
I went there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that place.
So good.
And it would be only open from like 12 to 3 or something like that.
That's how you know it's good. And then we're out of tomatoes today.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys must be really cool.
Yeah. I love that. That was my favorite in Seattle.
Yeah, nice.
What is something that you have overcome that makes you proud? Other than swimming over shark-infested waters
swimming above the shark. I would say just a lot of that, doing the work as far as behavioral and mental and just being an artist and creative. So a lot of the ones is kind of insecurity of being an artist or feeling not good enough.
Yeah.
And going, you know what, I can accept who I am or where I'm at in my career as well.
Yep.
I don't have to have a certain level of success that's not my talent level.
Yeah.
That's not who I am or what I'm capable of.
Yep.
If it's not seen or measured by what kind of car I drive or how my house is. So I would say kind of getting beyond that, instead of working towards create something that I'm proud of creating.
Yep.
To have success so that people so you can show it off.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, I'm kind of good with where I'm at.
I'm with you. I have no care. Like I have a Tesla but I never get in that car being like, oh, I hope people see me in a Tesla.
Right.
Like I'm stoked I have that car for me.
Absolutely.
But everything else, like you'll see, I've got all my shoes, like minimum of like 10. I've got shoes that are 10, 15 years old that I still wear. I've got pants that like
because
that.
you're comfortable.
I just don't care. I care about this stuff,
right?
Like my drawings and that stuff way more, like than what anyone, like no one could say anything that could hurt my feelings. Like you can call my mother a fucking cunt, and I'd be like, okay, that's not real. Like I don't care. Like you're not going to hurt my feelings, but I hurt my feelings with the quality of this stuff, or like whether I'm being like consistent or getting sidetracked by another shiny creative thing that I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We work on it, right?
Yeah.
You're just getting the tools and you just kind of work on those things that you struggle with. But that was kind of not so much an insecurity, but more of just like trying to measure or value, like that's who I am or how people see me.
Yep.
Because they haven't heard of a song that I've done, but they know so and so and so and so that I've worked with.
Yeah.
Or something that they're famous for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know. I see that. I do find it hard here with this stuff where I know that it'd be so much easier to try and like reach out to like really famous people or like famous people like and level up and slowly build up more.
Yeah.
And you'd build your content way faster. Right. But to me, the stories of this is way more interesting for people that are just like your everyday people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just like, oh yeah, everyone's got a story. That's the whole premise. You know what I mean? And
it's relatable.
Yeah. And so like when I tell people about this, they're like, oh, like who's the most famous person you really want to interview? And I'm like, a part of me goes, oh, I'd love to interview this person, but I don't think I would ask them any questions about their celebrity or anything like that. I want to know this stuff, like which they might not be willing to divulge because they're so famous. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, and you also don't want to ask the same questions that they've already been asked every time they do an interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're guarded and they're
I imagine
you don't want everybody to have all of your info.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want people to know that I swam once or like we're gonna throw you in the ocean and we're gonna watch you swim. Like,
that's your one shtick now. They're like, hey, this guy's drumming and swimming in the water. Yeah.
Like,
he'll swim across any shark. Yeah, you're on Shark Week next to.
How did I get here? Big podcast.
Yeah, you start a shark podcast. All right. What are 3 things that you are grateful for?
Friends and and the experiences that I've been able to enjoy. And going after pursuing the
So let me just dig into that more. When you say grateful for your friends, are you grateful that you have a large group of friends, or have you got a tight-knit group of friends that are very supportive? Like, how do you land on that friends one?
Yeah, so a lot of the lifelong friends that you've kind of learned, gone through the journey, done the work together. So they live in different places, but they're lifelong friends. So you have that support system.
Yeah.
A couple of my really good friends that were here since I've been back here recently, somebody that you could just, hey, what are you working on? Kind of helping each other out. But then a lot of them just moved out of state. So the recent friend group is kind of lighter. But friends in general are just the people that kind of know who you are, support who you are, and you don't have to do the whole let me explain who I am.
Right? I feel you on that. So I got a mate, like I have a tattoo here that says Sparkles.
I like it.
And that's my best mate in the world, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
And so he lives in Fremantle, Western Australia, where I'm from.
Cool.
But he has a job in the States, and he flies over here once or twice a year, But when we hang out, it's not like, oh, God, we got to make sure that we do something amazing when we hang out. We literally be like, hey, we're playing bananagrams. We're going to go walk and have dinner. Oh, he's like, I got to go buy some shirts. I'll be like, let's go do that. But we end up having the best time, and we don't stop talking, you know what I mean? And if we do, no one cares. Right? We're just like, okay, I'm going to take a nap. Yeah, you take a nap or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's that level of friendship, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, it's like, it almost lets you take a load off, you know?
Right. It's not a performance.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about, okay, what makes them happy right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. Good way to put it. Okay, so your friends, and then you said your experiences.
The travel and the shows and getting to work in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Getting to valet at cool hotels, driving really fun cars.
What car made you go, ooh, I can't believe I got to drive that?
I love Rolls Royce, especially vintage Rolls. Like,
oh, really?
70s convertible. There's just it's like a boat. So cool.
Did you ever scratch any of these things?
No.
No? No. Do they have like just really wide parking down in the valet so they're like, don't scratch any of these?
Oh, man. Some places I've worked, it's super crazy. Like Sunset Tower Hotel, you're going down one way in a parking garage underground that was built way too many years before SUVs.
Oh, God.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Threading the needle. Same at Chateau Marmont. Like that garage is just pillars and tons of cars, and you have to move like 3 cars to get one out for somebody.
Oh, God.
It's not fun. But shout out to a nice hotel. Other cars I really like. I didn't like Ferraris at first and Lamborghinis because of the people that were driving them around LA. I didn't like their attitude a lot of the time. But then Ferraris grew on me. 488 is just a beautiful car. It's fun to drive. It's elegant, but you know that it can go fast.
Do you know what's funny is I have no desire about any car that can go really fast.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, any car really other than...
They're all going to do the speed limit.
Yeah. I'm like, am I going to go take this on a track and try and go as fast as I can?
Right.
No. Like, so I just have no desire. It's fun to see, when I see cars around that people have, I like to think that person's getting to live their best life. Like they had the dream of having a Ferrari.
That's the poster that was on the wall.
Yeah. Exactly, and they got to live that dream. So I'm like, that's what I'm stoked on.
Right.
But the car, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like,
and you get desensitized too. I was a car kid, so I love cars. I always did Red Motor Trend. Like, what are the specs?
Oh, yeah.
This one's faster.
Oh, wow,
cool,
yeah.
And then you start driving. It's not to get desensitized, but you kind of, it's different. You kind of get a bigger awareness of, wow, this car I thought was cool. It looks cool, but it's hard to get in and out of, or I don't like the features, or
I think
it
about
doesn't
those
smell as good as the other car.
Well, that's got like some rich guys farting in it. Caveat.
True, things
farts
happen.
Or something.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
But those ones that are really low to the ground, like I would just imagine that, such a pain.
McLarens are super fun to drive. Like, you feel like you're kind of in a Gran Turismo, like almost like a video game in real life. But to get in and out of it, it's not easy. You're crawling over the wheel well. What the heck? Yeah.
That's crazy. But, I look at that and I'm like, it just looks. no one's getting out of those and looking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, well, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Especially the Lambos and the Ferrari at Chateau. All the guys are, flaunting, have all their money, trying to impress some girl to take home that night. And then they, try to get in the car. You're just going, all your cool factors.
You just
right
go drop down.
now,
Yeah. What's the third thing that you're grateful for?
The ability to roam around, to pursue music, to pursue dreams.
Yep.
As hard as it is to have the option, I'm grateful for that.
I am 100% with you on that. Right now, I'm going to say this before, but I want you to succeed so much so then I can say, hey, I got to interview that guy.
And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I want your success to be the same too, because I can go, hey, I was one of the first interviews.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny is when I was younger, I was a little bit. I look back now and I was like, I was insecure. I'd sort of judge people a little bit more, and now in the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, I'm like, I just want everyone to win. You know what I mean? I know not everyone can win, but I'm all meaning if I go against someone, and it doesn't matter if this is in sport, if this is in drawing, podcasts, whatever. If I go against someone and they're doing better than me, I never go, oh, you don't deserve that. I'm like, well, you're doing better than me. I'm stoked for your success.
It's so true. So I have so many, especially musician friends from LA, Nashville, that we were just there hanging out at the piano bar every week, and sometimes I was playing with our band, or sometimes they were playing with different bands or whatever, and they'll come track on my songs, and then next thing you know, he's touring with The Who.
Yeah.
Literally, right?
Wow.
And so things like that, or guitarists that all of a sudden they're out, or people that I've written songs with that won an Emmy writing a song, or a Grammy nomination. Yeah. And you go, that's cool. I'm so pumped. And when you praise them and you go, hey man, I'm so proud of you, that means something to them, because they know, hey, you were there when I was just working it out. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm all for that. On a side note, I don't think I got to ask this earlier, what musician did you look up to the most?
Growing up, I grew up in a musical family, so my mom would sing and my dad played bass. And so he actually was a touring musician in the 70s and played all over the world, and so pretty solid bass player. So I grew up with that in the house. I started young on piano, 3 or 4 years old. I started on piano, and then wanted to play in bands, so that's when my parents suggested drums, percussion. So that was huge. As a drummer, I really liked Carter Beauford with Dave Matthews Band, because he had a lot of chops, but he was tasty.
Okay.
And it was clean, and it fit the style of music.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of times I'd hear a great song, and I'd go, well, I love that song, so that means who's the songwriter? Who's the producer? Who's the drummer? Who are the people that make that
you're digging
happen?
into the nitty-gritty of that sort of stuff.
What's the behind the scenes on this? I appreciate a lot of things that other people are just like, who? They'll rattle off, 5 of the greatest drummers, Nick Bird, or all these other guys. You go, they're great, but I also just, what about that song? What made that happen?
I was listening to Dave Grohl one time in an interview, and he's like, he was saying that he's so obsessed with music that if he was having an interview and he could hear a drum going on in the background, he'd be like, well, I'll be able to tell if that's on a 12-inch something, or blah. He's rattling all this stuff off, and it was like hieroglyphics to me, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, but to me, that's more interesting than what we're doing.
Right.
And even if that's a 12-year-old kid drumming, doing that, I'm interested in the music. I just love it that much. That's what I imagine that you were like with hearing it. And you're like, whoa, how did they get to this point, or who made that, and where's that influence from, sort of thing.
Yeah, or sometimes you want when you start. I started wanting to write more songs. I've always done that. I started wanting to write more songs, let's be real, so I could get residual income. I wanted mailbox money. Oh, yeah. You can be a great drummer, and you take your whole drums to the gig, you load up the car, you take it to the gig, you set up, you play a set. You might go home with $100 or $50 at the bar or whatever, your bar tab, and they give you some food, and you're like, and I paid for parking, so I'm profiting $10 tonight. And I wanted to focus more on songwriting. Also, what I love about it too, same thing. rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, I love that saying. It's one of my favorites.
So I love that too because, hey, I can support somebody else's career if I write them a song.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's been artists where I'm like, I want to write them their song, and if it's something that works for them, then you elevate their career potentially. And that's part of why I focus more on that.
Yeah, I love it. I do love the residual thing. I think music is the only place where you could have one hit and you live off, like, maybe not live it off it, but you might.
You can if you're smart, or if it bounces around. I mean, it's all different now. There's different structures with streaming
and stuff like that.
But they're winning. The writing community is winning more legal side of it to get more residual, more percentages on songs that are out there, which is cool. Well, yeah, one of the songwriters I really look up to is Allie Willis, and she wrote September. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, okay.
Right? And that's a hit 21 years later.
Yeah.
And she recently passed on, but she was so cool, and she was a part of my writing community, so we connect up a little bit just on social. And she wrote the Friends theme song, too.
No way.
Yeah. So she wrote one song for a TV show.
God, that would have made
Which house do you want and where do you want it?
Yeah.
Right. And but then also these 70s disco tunes that 20 years later are still played at every wedding or still played at.
What's really interesting about that is she gets to have all the wealth, all the notoriety without the fame.
Anonymity.
Yeah. And so she's like, I can just be in anywhere.
It's another reason why I wanted that more so than being an artist. When I was younger, I wanted to be the front man. I wanted to be the artist.
Yeah.
As I started working in the industry and playing drums, supporting lead artists, I'm like, I don't want to be like that person. I don't want to have that persona.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean they're all that way, but there's a lot of them. And then that's the same thing. I love to produce. I love to be a part of the project and the process. But with songwriting, I'm like, hey, cool. I can be friends with everybody. And go have a nice dinner or go to a nice event, but I can go to a coffee shop and I'll be bothered. Or a restaurant
exactly.
And I'll be bothered.
Like I think about some of the celebs. Like imagine being Beyonce or something like that. Being like, what do you do?
So closed off. You have to create your own bubble. And,
Like you can't walk anywhere just being like, I'm going to go here to get a drink or whatever like that. Right. You know what I mean? That it's
you have to rent out a whole place.
Yeah. Like I've heard some people like have to rent out Disneyland to have their families go. You know? I'm like that's. Right. You just can't.
But at the same time, that's kind of nice.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Yeah.
That's
I'm not hating them that they can do it. Like, go ahead and do it. But you know what I mean? Having to. It's just kind of a bit wild. But
it's the same with film producing. I've acted a little bit just for fun because I enjoy performing.
Yeah.
But when I started working in production, behind the scenes, directing, producing, helping out on set, you kind of go, hey, I'm a part of that. I can watch on the screen. I can celebrate what we did, how we got that to happen.
Yeah. It was interesting because you said that before, like, and I felt that very strongly. That what you say earlier that we did that we got it going. Right. Where I think a lot of people think that the director, the writer, and the actors, and that's the trifecta, and that's all the people. But it's really like it's everybody in that mix. You know what I mean?
How location or getting the right camera move. So that the actor looks cool when they deliver that line, right? And creating that shot. That's all the DP. That's all on the cinematographer. Mm-hmm. And how it happens.
Yeah.
And the people that are moving the dolly. And lining it up perfect. That's a performance
it's a team
too.
effort. You know what I mean? Like it fully is.
It's a collective,
I feel you. And I like that you took pride in that side of things. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people are, I got to be a part of that. No, you're like, no, we put this forward.
We did it. We built it together.
And I think that's a big thing. There was one thing I read about people who enjoy their work more. It's how they frame their mind. And there's these a study done where the cleaners at a hospital, they could tell in their job satisfaction, it was not so much about money, which obviously there is a degree to that, but when they took that out of it, they were saying that it's how the cleaners viewed their job. And so some cleaners are like, I have to clean up after these people, and it's like blood or vomit or whatever. And then someone else is like, well, I'm making their recovery better by making this the best possible scenario for them. So their outlook on life and their job happiness and their overall happiness was better because they made that choice to look at it as, it's not just the doctor, it's not just it's we're all a part of this. And then when companies start applying that to them and saying like anytime like you're a part of this process, then the people get happier as well.
True, and it's having that sense of community or teamwork.
Yeah.
You recognize what everybody brings to the table.
Yeah.
And things don't happen unless certain parts of it are brought together. And that's part of what's fun about production. And what I'm doing now is stage work, stagehand work, backline. You're behind the scenes, but hey, I just helped that drummer set up his kit, and now everybody's enjoying the whole show because of it. Because I swapped out that cymbal for him.
Yeah.
Simple things.
I love that.
Yeah, they're loving it. And you know that you're a part of it, but I don't need a pat on the back. I can see everybody's enjoying the show.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of self-confidence in that as well.
I think so.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Last question. You have to wear a shirt with a slogan on it for a year. What does it say?
I'm my version of happy.
I'm my version of happy. I like that. That's awesome.
Why not, right?
No,
I was like, let's put some fun in it, something happy. I'm like, no, I'm my version of happy.
Yeah.
And that's a hard way to live too, because
I really think it is.
How much of our filter is what's going to make them happy?
Not only that,
how I am.
But also like with social media and like looking over the fence and seeing whose grass is greener. You know what I mean? And like everyone sort of does it, but if you can find my version of happy, you know what I mean? You're going to be the happiest person there is, because you don't need to look over the fence.
And you're going to be more free to everybody else too, because there's no agenda.
Yeah.
Somebody else isn't going to be burdened by who you're trying to be.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's who they are. Well, I know what I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
They like to be quiet. They like to be crazy.
Yeah.
That's who they are.
Yeah.
That's them. Okay, I can work around that.
Yeah. That was awesome. I really like that. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for being on Joining Your Story.
Yeah, man.
And
Thanks for having me.
I'll get a drawing out to you, and then we'll see how it all pans out.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'm excited for your growth and everything in your new company.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like this is a launching pad. Like, okay, just commit to it. Let's make it happen.
I like it.
Together.
I feel you.
Awesome.
All right, thank you so much.
It.
How'd you feel it went?
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.